Hello, I'm Beelzebub and welcome to my channel. I'm sure at least some of you have heard of the drag queen story hours that libraries are doing around the country. It's something that I'm actually all for because it can help get kids interested in reading and help end the ridiculous stigma about cross-dressing and cross-dressers. I'm sure many of you out there agree with me, but there are people out there who don't share our progressive view of sexuality and gender expression, or just plain enjoyment that some people get from dressing in a way that the opposite gender typically does. So a few days ago, Pat Robertson finally said something about this. So let's hear what the Crypt Keeper himself has to say.
Well, this next story should shock the daylights out of you. You ought to do something about it. It's an outrage. Little teeny children, as young as 2 years old, being exposed to cross-dressers, homosexuals who dress up.
Quick question. Why should I be shocked by this? If I'm shocked by anything, it's that you believe that all cross-dressers are homosexual. I don't know how else to break it to you, Pat, so I'll just say it. Not all cross-dressers are homosexual.
Dress up as women and are called so-called drag queen. You say, well, that's something maybe for some weird television show or something, but no, it's from us, it's a few miles away from this place where I'm sitting right now in the studio. There's a library where they're hosting these events where men are dressed as women, and they've got all kinds of makeup on, and they're men acting like women. And they used to, out in San Francisco, used to call them he-she's.
Okay, first of all, drag queens? I'm not sure what that is. Secondly, a weird television show like Monty Python? Men dressed in women's clothing for that. What about plays in the days of Shakespeare when women weren't allowed to have roles in plays? Would that be weird too? Pull your head out of your ass, Pat. And thirdly, I think it'd do you some good to go a few miles to that library and sit and watch silently to maybe be exposed to something outside of your ridiculously narrow point of view.
And they're reading books to children.
Books, you say? To children, you say? Oh, please tell me it ain't so. Well, we just can't have that now, can we?
And it's called the Drag Queen Story Hour. Well, you'd better get outraged about this, and many people are, but library officials cited a recent event in Virginia and said it fits their city's vision of inclusion and diversity.
Again, why should I be outraged by this? The only real outrage here is your shitty attitude.
Give me a break.
No, Pat, you give us a break. Holy Christ on a cracker. You really could bitch about anything, couldn't you?
If you read the Bible, there are a couple of cities where the men tried to have sex with angels who were then as male figures, and God destroyed those cities. And the crime was called, subsequent to that, it was called sodomy.
Wow, so you don't even understand your own storybook, do you? Look at Ezekiel 16:48-50, Pat. The cities were destroyed because they were arrogant and didn't help the poor and needy. That actually sounds kind of like you. God didn't destroy the cities because they tried to fuck a couple of his angels, Pat. God damn.
This whole thing is just an outrage. It's an affront in the eyes of God. And I think that's what we're trying to do, is to stick our fingers in God's eyes and say, okay, Lord, you...
Oh, I'd like to stick something in your imaginary friend's eye. But it's not a finger, if you get what I'm saying.
That's what the Bible says. Male and female, he made them, as part of his creation. But we're going to fix it so that we're going to confuse the sexes. We're going to confuse everything.
Confuse the sexes? You realize that gender and sexuality are on a spectrum, right? How do I keep forgetting that people like this consider a Bronze Age book to be the pinnacle of truth?
And then we're going to murder as much as if we have offspring as a result of our sexual activity out of marriage, we're going to kill the offspring, and we'll stick our fingers in your eye and show you who's boss.
Oh, wow, that took a hard turn out of nowhere. When did abortion come up? I thought we were talking about Drag Queen Story Hour.
That was the original crime. That's what led to the destruction of the Tower of Babel, and it's what led to the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. And
no, Pat, no. I've already explained Sodom and Gomorrah, so I won't do it again. But God destroyed the Tower of Babel because he was worried that we would become as powerful as him. Read your own book, man. Jesus. So he spends the rest of this clip saying stuff like slippery slope and how can we expect God to bless America if we stick our dicks in his eye? So I'm not going to play the remainder. Much like with my Jim Baker video, a big thank you to Right Wing Watch for this one. If you haven't subscribed to them yet, I don't know what you're doing with your life, but I will leave a link in the description box to their channel so you can check them out. That'll do it for this video though. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share the video. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, linked below, so you can keep up with all my comings and goings. Take it easy everyone, and I'll see you all in the next one.